I hope you'll excuse me if I'm a little spaced out. I've been up since 2:30. Was up late last night, and I bet I'm not the only one in this room that's also been up late working. I'm going to ask, I guess first we'll take the roll call. Commissioner Schindel. Here. Commissioner Dudnick.
Here.
Commissioner Rosales.
Here.
And Commissioner Young. I'm Richard Butler. I'm here. I want to welcome all of you to the meeting. This is not only a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court, it is also our meeting at which we will adopt the fiscal year 2014-15 budget and the tax rate for the 2014 tax year. Let's start with an opening prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for all the great blessings you've given to us, the newfound mineral wealth of this county, the much better rains we've had lately, and we ask for your continued blessings. Please be with us as we work today and have us be patient and understanding and all motivated by goodwill for the people of Karnes County. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That wasn't me. Yeah, it was. We have a citizens to be heard section now. If anyone would like to speak on any issue that's before the Commissioners Court today, you may. Normally, the way I've been conducting these sessions is to allow people input while we're going about the business instead of just making everybody speak. You're going to be heard right up front, and I suspect we'll do that again today. As you know, we've been putting together the budget for some time now, and consequently the tax rate that's needed to support that budget. We had 2 public hearings, 2 of them on the tax rate, and then also a public hearing on the budget, which was last week. We had good attendance at both meetings. Thought the citizen input was good. And I'll tell you, we heard all of you. We're listening to what citizens say. Those of you who've come, and those we've heard from just through regular communications. And we have attempted to, and I think have accomplished the task of formulating a budget that will support the needs of Karnes County and will meet some of the objections that were raised about the rate and about the amount of income that the county will be taking in. I do want you to know I think this is an extremely important budget. This county was going down a very dangerous path that was set in stone by the statute that governs property tax in the state of Texas and our circumstance, which is we've suddenly discovered all these mineral assets here in Karnes County. Because of that, our property tax rates were driven down to unrealistically low levels. We're all relieved. I'm greatly relieved to not have to pay as much tax as I might have used to. But at the same time, I don't think any of us wants to see us just completely neglect the infrastructure of this county and just let it go to pot. That's a bad path to be on. And even though we're hopeful that we'll have continuing mineral development that will keep those mineral valuations high, we're not certain of it. And so we can't, just gamble on it and say, well, it'll be there tomorrow. We hope so. And if it is, that'll be great. We'll continue to have very low tax rates. But if it doesn't, adjustments may have to be made in the future, and there'll be all kinds of adjustments, both downsizing and increased tax rates. So everybody should be aware of that. We had a full discussion of that at the tax rate hearings. What we're going to do is go through the Commissioners Court agenda, and probably the last thing we'll address will be the adoption of the budget and the adoption of the tax rate. We've got some people here that are on other business that I know would like to go ahead and get that taken care of so they can be on their way. But we'll go ahead and go through the agenda, and I'll describe which particular item we're going to discuss at that time. Pardon me. First thing is it's been requested that we proclaim October 2014 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Karnes County. And this is authored by Jennifer Fernandez. Ms. Fernandez?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is our annual proclamation, and we do it every year, recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Would the court like you to read the proclamation?
Sure, where is it?
Okay. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. Whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers and are supported by societal indifferences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole here in this community, throughout the United States and the world. And whereas women are not the only targets, young children and the elderly also are victims, and sadly, emotional scars are often permanent. And domestic violence costs United States companies at least $3.5 billion a year in lost work time, increased healthcare costs, higher turnover, and lower productivity. And whereas it is battered women themselves who have been in the forefront of efforts to increase inequality to the home. Now therefore we do hereby proclaim the month of October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and call all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our effort to prevent domestic violence, thereby strengthening the communities in which we live.
All right. I think proclamation like that's kind of on everybody's mind in view of all the publicity the NFL players have received lately, and of course it's not limited to them. They just have people following around and reporting on them, but it is probably always has been, and hopefully won't always will be, but I suspect will be with us for quite some time as a problem. I would move that we adopt that resolution.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
And if I can, if I may, I just want to congratulate the county on creating your new victim services program. I think that is a wonderful thing that you've done. And I've already kind of met with her and started working on some things, and really look forward to continuing to work with her to make sure victims in Karnes County are getting the services they need.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
If you'll just leave the resolution with Erica, we'll get it signed.
I certainly will. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Is Mr. Espinosa here? Number 7 is on June 25th, 2014, Mesa Real Estate Partners sold the subject property and real property improvements to ARC GBL MES A001 LLC. Pursuant to Section 10 assignment of the abatement agreement, Mesa Real Partners hereby assigns its portion of the abatement agreement, real and personal property improvements, to ARC. ARC continues to lease land and buildings to SES. It is anticipated that the following entities will be liable for property taxes. All right, so you want to explain this to us?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds a little convoluted, but thank you for having me here and thank you for fitting me into your agenda on it seems like a busy day. Sure.
Thank you.
So this is essentially just an assignment clause for an agreement that was passed back in 2010 here in Karnes County. Per the agreement, to assign the agreement to another entity, we need county commissioner approval. So that's why we're here today. It started back in 2010. Select Energy Services was looking to locate a facility. They were looking at several of the surrounding county areas back then. I believe that was Judge.
Who is it now that's looking for, it's not the energy services, who is that?
Select Energy Services.
As I understand it, Select or whatever corporate name they were functioning under was given an abatement, a tax abatement, is that correct?
Correct, but back in 2010.
And what they're doing now is they're assigning that property to someone else,
Correct, so,
or selling it to someone else.
and they already did once. So you all, Karnes County already approved an assignment once when that property was conveyed to another entity that was Mesa Real Estate Partners. So Select owned that building. Select bought the property, built that building. That was part of the inducement to get them here in Karnes County to create the jobs, to add the investment to the county. Back with Judge Alder Kendall back in 2010. So that agreement was set up for real property and personal property. Now they built that building down on 239, and that's where they're running out of right now. Still operating, maintaining all the performance goals for that agreement. They are still in compliance with it. I think they're in the 4th year now of the 10-year term. And all that's going on here is that property's changing hands. So when the assessor's going to look at that, the assessor's is going to see an abatement agreement for the last assignment, which was with Mesa. And we just want to make sure that that's going to apply now to the new owner when the assessor goes to do the...
The abatement agreement requires approval by the county of any assignment, is that correct?
This is correct. It requires an approval by the County Commissioners Court of any assignment that takes place that shall not be unreasonably withheld, according to the language in the agreement.
And we have not, up to this point, we've not had a real compliance officer or anyone who's been auditing or ensuring the compliance with these abatement agreements. In other words, we haven't had anybody in place that's been verifying that the abatement agreements are being followed.
Well, we have submitted compliance annually to your office.
Which is a letter saying we complied?
That's it. Correct.
Okay.
We're complying with the agreement there. And
Right.
I mean, if the requirement, though, I mean, you can see what the compliance basically is required as investment, so a level of investment. So I mean, that's what requires.
Well, I know they've invested a lot of money out there.
Right, and so
I don't know if that's. I haven't seen the agreement. I haven't looked at it yet. Commissioners, are any of you familiar with it?
I wasn't on the court at the time. I think Mr. Commissioner Yower and Commissioner Rosales were.
No, we weren't here. It was before we came in.
Oh, okay.
But I really don't think as Judge says, I don't think that Select has ever complied with any of the provisions of the abatement, other than submitting a letter that we've got so many people employed. I just don't see it. And I don't know, is this also a way for Select to continue to operate? I mean, is this just a kind of a, how can you say it,
no, this is just so it's a sale leaseback. So the initial assignment was because Select sold the property to an entity that owned the property. And so now that entity owns the property, that entity is going to get the property tax bill. Well, the initial, at the outset of this agreement, Select owned that building and owned that property, and Select was receiving that abatement according to the terms of the agreement in year 1, in year 2, and then they sold that property. Well, in order for them to receive the benefit of that abatement, with the spirit of the agreement, we had to assign only the real property portion. Now, the business personal property is all still in Select's name. So we're just talking about the building, that's it. Everything else is still taxed to Select, so there's no need to assign anything on the personal property side. It's just this building they constructed out there out on 239.
Grace, you had something you wanted to say?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, Jim. Let him.
I was here when,
Okay.
I was here when that abatement was proposed and signed by the county. One of the items was, of course, the investment within the county.
Right.
The other item was, I believe that the number was some 200 plus people were going to be hired from the local area, from Karnes County, to work for Select Energy. To my knowledge, I think I'm 100% correct. The county has never, and I'm talking about the county commissioner's court, has never appointed anyone to audit the Select Energy abatement. And even though you sent a letter, that does not comply with the audit requirements established by the state.
Well, the audit requirements are subject to the agreement, so you have to look to the agreement.
And the agreement states that it will be audited annually.
And the agreement states to comply with the terms of the agreement, we have to have a minimum investment amount.
I agree that you probably complied with the investment. It's the other side of that, or the other part of the agreement, that we don't know if you've complied with. I would ask that the Commissioner's Court would hold approving transferring this tax abatement until such time that you appoint somebody to audit Select Energy to make sure that they've been in compliance from year one to the current date.
And that's what I'm saying, the compliance for the agreement is the investment, is the minimum investment. And that is going to the tax assessor. The tax assessor, we have to render equipment to the county, and the assessor is seeing that there's tens of millions of dollars worth of equipment that's way above and beyond what the requirement is, and that is the compliance.
Part of the agreement was employment also, if I can remember. It was 200 and something plus, but there was an agreement with in the compliance of that y'all were gonna employ 200 and something people from Karnes County, so many with this kind of education, and then so many with, and it kept dwindling down. I can't remember the exact thing, but
I'm not sure that that's part of the compliance
no,
requirements.
it was. I was here on the court when we made the decision, and I'm almost positive that it was part of the compliance. I may be making a mistake, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Maybe y'all should review the document that was signed
Right.
and look at that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would
Yes,
think, my guess is that if your company's been in compliance and can prove that, there will probably be no problem with the sign.
Yeah.
But unless until we're shown evidence that compliance with in all respects with the audit agreement have been met, I doubt that we want to approve of it.
Also, how could you approve of it if the personnel issue was part of the original abatement agreement, which, James, I believe it was, if now the company that's going to own it and get the abatement isn't employing the people out there?
Well, that's why we need this assigned over to that company. The performance and the goal requirements are not going to change.
But
That's still
that
for
company
Select.
won't be doing the personnel side of it, and that company will be who's getting the tax abatement.
Sure, but that tax abatement's passed on to Select. It's a triple net lease. The taxes are passed on. A benefit receives the benefit of that abatement.
Let's do this. Let's get. I haven't had time. I apologize. I knew this was coming up on the agenda. I have not had time to look at it in the last couple of weeks. I've been occupied, but I'd like to take a look at it, review it with the commissioners, and then anything you can give us regarding, assuming employment is one of the requirements of the abatement, see what you can provide me in the meantime that will tell us or show us that you've complied. We'll look at that, and assuming that the company's in compliance, I assume we'd be willing to do something, but we have to see. We have to follow the letter of the compliance agreement, and if it requires consent to an assignment, we're going to have to look at it.
Yes, sir. I understand that, and
Okay.
what I would tell you too is that for the last 2 years we've been submitting this compliance. It's been going to. I know there was 2 prior county judges in before you, and I understand that this is you and not them.
Yes, sir.
But that compliance has gone through, it's been applied, the abatement's been running even with the assignment. So I mean, to the point over here, that Mesa owned it before. I mean, Judge Shaw and the Karnes County Commissioners Court at that time approved that assignment, and it is applied, and it has gone through, and it is passed on to Select Energy Services, who's the true, in the spirit of the agreement, the true beneficiary of that.
What is happening, I think, is not particularly my personality involved in or anything else. It's that we've heard from citizens, and I've heard from some of the commissioners that they really do want to monitor these things from now on. You know, that we've granted a lot of tax abatements to a lot of companies to conduct activities, build buildings, whatever here. And we want to make sure that they're following through with what they promised to do in order to get these substantial tax abatements. I don't think it's unfair. And I don't know what's happened before. I wasn't on this court and can't tell you anything about that, but I am more than willing to look at all of this stuff. I'll have a little extra time now. I'll be glad to look it over and promptly. And we can take a look at it. But I don't think we're ready to act today.
Would it be okay if I worked with the county attorney on that?
Sure.
On the language in the agreement?
I'm gonna tell you right, quite frankly, I feel this way about this thing. Once you make a change in the abatement, I think it shouldn't be approved, period, because you're making changes. It just, I just don't think we should make this adjustment. It should come back to the real property.
Well, respectfully, sir, I mean, nothing's changing as far as the abatement.
Yes, there is change. Something is changing. Because you're here to ask for a change.
Well, it's an assignment.
Well, still, but it's a change.
We just ask for approval of the assignment, and that's,
But
we don't have to grant it. I mean,
Well, the language says it shall not be unreasonably withheld.
oh, okay. So those are the things that I need to look at. I want to see the agreement, I want to review it, and we'll work with the county attorney to look at it, okay?
Sure.
We will.
Do you have a copy of the abatement with you?
I don't have a copy of the agreement here, but I sent a copy to the county attorney when I got this, put this on the agenda.
Well, I'll review it with
Sent a
her.
copy of the prior assignment, the abatement agreement, to show everything that's happened since 2010.
I will look at it with her as soon as we're finished this week.
Sure.
Okay.
And I understand you have lots of other county business
We've
to
got
attend to,
a
right?
bunch to deal with
I
right
understand.
now, and granting this request at this time is probably not the best time to be asking. We'll be talking about it soon.
Sure.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? All right. That's it. Thank you.
Is the abatement filed in the county clerk's office for record?
It is.
It is.
Should be.
It's public record.
Yes, sir. Okay, item number 8, discuss, accept independent audit for fiscal year ended 9/30/2013 as prepared by Alonzo, Pagrese, Irving, and Palmer, certified public accountants. Goodman.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here today to go over the results of the audit.
Maybe it'll be turned up some light.
I'll try not shouting. It doesn't sound like it's on. It doesn't count. You have our audit report in front of you. It's a large document. I'm not going to go through this page by page. I'm just going to give you an overview. The first section contains our independent auditor's report. We are required to follow generally accepted auditing standards, which we have done. The purpose of an audit is to give you an opinion on whether or not your financials are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Your opinion this year is unmodified, which means basically that your financials have been prepared in accordance with GAAP. The second section of the financial statement is your management discussion and analysis. It has several sections in it. my colleague likes to call it the cliff notes of the financials. It's where you can pick it up and just read those few pages and find out if the county did better or worse than last year, and some of the major accomplishments that the county has had during the year. I'm just going to go over very few highlighted.
Judge Butler, may she use one of y'all's microphones?
Sure.
It's not working.
It's not working?
Let me see that. Here you go, ma'am. That podium will slide.
There you go.
You need to turn around and be the professor.
Just don't want it to be too loud. On a combined full accrual basis, your assets exceeded your liabilities by $31 million this year, of which $10 million of that is investments in capital assets. There's about $1 million that are restricted for debt service and some of your road and bridge special revenue funds that collect taxes. And then you have $23 million in unrestricted fund balance, which is to be used for your ongoing operations for the county. Your net assets increased in fiscal year 2013 by $16 million. Your number of months of average expenditures in the general fund is 25 months, over 2 years. Our standard is between 4 and 6 months. So you're well funded at the county for your operations. We've passed out also 2 other letters. I'm going to speak to this one first, the one that doesn't have a cover on it. To kind of give you an update on where we were, the last time we met was in the end of June to go over some of the concerns we had on bank reconciliations. In July, the court hired us to actually perform those bank reconciliations from October 2012 through the end of September 2013. We completed that process around September 18th, so it took us about 6 weeks to go through the entire year. And this letter actually issues a material weakness over internal controls over your financial reporting as it relates to your cash. Our recommendation is that somehow we get a better control over your bank reconciliation process. It should be done monthly, it should be done timely. You should be able to see your receipts coming in and your deposits going in. It should be a very easy reconciliation process. It shouldn't take 6 weeks for us to go through an entire year. On this other report, on the very last page, we show the adjustments. We had some material adjustments to the cash accounts, and that last page details the adjustments that we had to make to cash to get it to reconcile. It was over $235,000.
Those adjustments were basically from non-received items.
Those, yes, and which started in October of 2012. You had some, you can see.
Could you speak up and look at here?
There were actually 4 large adjustments to cash which started in October 2012 that we had to make to get your financials correct.
Sorry, your audit you referred to as unmodified, that means that you didn't put anything in the audit that indicates some sort of material problem at this point? I know you've attached a letter that indicates...
That information is in the letter,
okay.
But we had to be able to issue this with an unmodified opinion. We had to make sure that we felt comfortable that your financials were materially stated
Okay.
in accordance with GAAP.
And it was through your work over the 6-week period of time that you were able to straighten this out?
Yes, yes, sir. And just so you know, we had a different department from our firm actually doing those reconciliations. The auditors were not doing those. We had another auditor of our firm doing
I got you.
those.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
Did y'all recommend any type of controls for the auditor and the treasurer to coincide together to try to remedy the situation from happening again in the future?
That's more of a management function. That's outside
I just want to know, did y'all make any recommendations?
Our recommendation would be that the deposits are receipted in and deposited in order, timely. So it should really be, you get a deposit in, you deposit in the bank the next day, and they're in sequence, but they're not being deposited sequentially. So we would suggest that you get a deposit, you take it to the bank. You get a deposit, you take it to the bank. It should be a very simple process.
Mrs. Gloucester?
The 235,000, where did you find that?
Basically, just looking at the bank statements and what had been deposited through the system, in the financial
In
system.
other words, it was deposited in but not recorded in the books, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, I have a question. Didn't it take about 9 months to complete this audit?
Yes, sir, it did.
Okay, what's the normal time to complete an audit, should it be?
We
Should have been done in
generally start a couple of months after year end, so we would be here in December, January, and we should be able to complete the audit by February or March.
So the
Should be at least 5-6 months after your year end.
so where is the problem that it took that long to find it? Where's the problem in our bookkeeping? In the receipting and the deposits, or what are you saying?
I believe it's in the not in the receiving, but in the actual making the deposits to the bank.
So you're saying the deposits weren't made when the receipts came in, is that
That's
correct?
correct.
During our audit process, we identified problems and pushed it back to your departments to handle. When they couldn't handle it, that's when we had to get involved. 6 months after the process started.
Ma'am, you said that on October the 1st, 2012, that's when the budget began. That's where you found, from the previous budget year, you found the 235,000 to be carried over?
No, we were doing the audit for fiscal year 2013, which runs from October 1st through the end of the year. The bank reconciliation that we got at the end of September 2012, we got that from the county auditor, and it was fine.
It was fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, if I don't have any other questions.
Just as a point of clarification, Charlene, to your question, the full $235,800.62 was not October 1st, 2012. $124,579.52 of that was from October 1st. Others were throughout the year. And they were automatic or phone transfers into the county's bank account that were not receipted into the county's accounting system.
And who does those phone transfers?
The phone transfers that were done were the tax office.
So, they were phone transfers in, clarify that, please.
The tax office makes weekly, normally, phone transfers of property taxes into our account, and then the treasurer's office receipts them, which therefore makes our books match our bank. And then the other automatic transfers were from the state comptroller's office.
Where was the gap?
Excuse me?
Where was the gap from the deposits, phone transfer deposits to the receipts? Where was the gap?
What do you mean, where was the gap? The gap was they didn't get receipted in
Why?
because the treasurer's department did not receive them. That's who's
Didn't
responsible
receive
for
them.
receipts.
Receive.
Receipt them.
Receipt.
So when the fund transfer is made, how does the tax collector communicate with the county treasurer that she's phone transferred this?
Brenda?
It's faxed in, Charlene, and then we, when the bank signs it and sends it back, that they have transferred the money, the copy's given to the treasurer.
Did the treasurer receive these at all times?
Not if these ever identified as non-received.
But I mean, did she receive this from the tax collector to properly receipt it to her books? Was there, I mean, if the tax collector has to take something from the bank to the treasurer for her to receipt it in, was it properly passed from the tax collector at all times to the treasurer?
Yes, ma'am, I believe it was.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do y'all need to accept it? I mean, I'm just looking at the item and it says discuss, accept. And I know I'm not.
Judge, you need a motion.
I don't know.
I'll make the motion to accept item number 8 as presented.
There's a number.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. I think I'm gonna skip over something for a minute. Let's see. We have a special. Hang on a minute, I'm looking for something else we had. Let's go to 18 for a moment. Based on local government code 81.005A, at the last regular term of each fiscal year of the county, the Commissioner's Court by order shall designate a day of the week in which the court shall convene in a regular term each month during the next fiscal year. And historically, Commissioner's Court has met the second Tuesday and the last working day of the month. And then we have a list of the days that would correlate to during the fiscal year. I would move that we approve of the schedule set out under paragraph 18 for the Commissioner's Court in the next fiscal year.
I've gone through it and I'll second it. Looks fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 18. Putting off the hard part. Let's see if there's anything else. It seems like there's another.
17.
I thought I had a supplemental notice. Okay. Number 17 says observe and cause the fiscal year 2014-15 salary orders for the county auditor, first assistant auditor, and second assistant auditor to be in the recorded minutes of the Commissioner's Court as required by local government code 152.031. And I'm looking. These orders were signed by Judge Stella Saxon and Judge Donna Reyes. They're filed in the district court and under local government code. Where is it supposed to be filed in addition?
In the minutes of the Commissioners Court.
Okay. Well, I move that we file these orders in the minutes of the Commissioners Court.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Let's see, Brenda, I believe under number 11, you wanted to present excess debt collections. This is item number 11 on your agenda. And we'll follow with number 12.
Okay. The first one is the excess one? Okay. This is, I, Brenda Janasek, tax assessor collector for the county of Karnes, solemnly swear that the amount of excess debt service funds collected in 1314 for the county of Karnes interest and sinking fund has been determined to be zero. That's excess funds.
Number 12.
Number 12, certification of the anticipated collection rate for the 14-15 year. I, Brenda Janasek, tax assessor collector for the county of Karnes, solemnly swear that the anticipated collection rate for the 14-15 tax year for the county of Karnes interest and sinking fund has been estimated to be 100%.
Okay. All right. Let's go to item number 9. And this is budget. And ladies and gentlemen, we've had 2 public hearings on tax rate, and the last public hearing we had was on budget. Some of you were there in attendance. I'll say that we worked long and hard that day, and we had a lot of open discussion with the citizens present about the terms and the items contained in the budget and the amount of that budget. The original budget that we had proposed, that I had proposed, and the Commissioners Court had also proposed, called for a tax rate, overall property tax rate of 30 cents. We have modified that budget to now call for a tax rate of 23 cents. I'll give you some thoughts on that. I thought 30 cents was justified. It would still make us the lowest county in this area by far, and would insulate us from future dramatic tax increases in the event we have some decline in the mineral productivity and the values of those minerals. That's what's allowing us to have as low a tax rates as we do now. However, my dad once used to, well, not once, many times would tell me when people were getting impatient about getting something done, he'd say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think there's some wisdom to that. And it's going to take a while to turn around things in this county. We can all get impatient and say, gosh, why don't we look like Bernie or this or that or something. We get impatient at times with each other and with our surroundings, but that's not productive. And so what I wanted to do was to develop a tax rate that I felt those who were calling for a rollback petition would certainly rethink with a tax rate as reasonable as this, but yet progress the ball. I wanted to do both. I wanted to be reasonable. As an attorney, I've had a lot of cases, tried a lot of cases, but I've settled a lot more, and most of us do. And in doing a settlement, you frequently attend mediation. And a good mediator will always tell you, if you leave this mediation feeling like you got everything you wanted, well, then I haven't done a very good job because one party just gave up. But normally both parties leave dissatisfied a little bit. And that's when you know you've made a compromise, is when everybody goes away and says, well, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got some. And so I think this is a compromised budget. It accomplishes a lot of the objectives we tried to attain, but not everything. But it has maintained the tax rate at a pretty, very, very reasonable level. I would ask all citizens to support this budget, that it will progress the county, and I'll tell you that the results of a rollback petition would be pretty disastrous. We would have severe funding cuts all across the board, and it would really be disastrous for the future of this county. So we're going to, commissioners, have you all had a chance to look at the budget?
Yes.
If anybody needs additional time to review it before we approve it, I'll tell you that it's, those of you who were at the hearing, it's basically what we discussed at the hearing. We made the modifications that we discussed making. The principal reductions came in the form of some reductions in the M&O budget funding of the Road and Bridge Department. We made up for some of that, most of it actually, by taking some funds out of the Road and Bridge unencumbered funds and applying those. I feel like, I think I've discussed this the other day, I think that unencumbered funds ought to be used for capital projects, not funding, just operations. And I regard our roads as a capital project. We're trying to improve our infrastructure and invest in it, and I think that's a decent investment to make. So that is where we are now.
Sue?
Yes, Sue?
What's the new total expenditure amount? It was like 51 million.
It's less than that. It's 50,081,803.83. That includes CTERS funding, the 1747 grant. I don't know if that also includes the unencumbered funds that we're utilizing. And that's how we reduce, even though the amount's not a lot lower, it's not all coming out of tax funds.
May I ask what that amount is for salaries and benefits?
I can't tell you the exact amount.
Not approximately, or?
It's spread throughout the budget. If you reviewed the previous budget, there are increased salaries from over that budget, not for elected officials. Those are all staying the same. But for the employees, rank and file employees of the county, the discussion was had, and we all agreed, the commissioners all agreed, that we ought to elevate the county employees of Karnes County, this suddenly very wealthy county, to the mid-range of the counties that were surveyed in our area. And that's what we've done. Some people got very small raises, some, unlike what was in the paper, it's not an 89% raise to anybody. That was we didn't have that listed in the budget, it was just, but that was actually changing from someone from part-time to full-time. But the budget will be filed, will be available for everybody to review, and if you're a good mathematician, you can add it all up, but I have not added it.
Well, another question I have, were the employees that are going to the mid-range, were they already at the minimum range of the survey?
Some were and some were not.
So in other words, they're gonna be jumping before they reach the minimum to the mid, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
With that being said, I'll make the motion to approve the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget for Karnes County.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So approved, and we'll have well, I'll take it back. I'm gonna have to ask for a roll call vote. We have to have a record vote of each commissioner on this. I'll start with Commissioner Yower,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosales.
Yes.
I'm County Judge Rich Miller, I vote yes. Commissioner Dupnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Semmel.
Yes.
All right.
Judge, I asked that this also be posted on the website.
It will be. This will be posted on the website, or if you don't have a computer, you can go get it. A copy from the county clerk's office will be on file later on today. Now, everybody understands that this budget calls for a overall property tax rate of 23 cents. We next have to ratify as commissioners the budget that asks for a tax rate of 23 cents, which is constitutes a tax increase. Local Government Code 111.008 requires us to ratify that. Do I have a motion that we do so?
I so move.
I second it.
All right, once again, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Yower,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosales.
Yes.
I vote yes. Commissioner Dupnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Semmel.
Yes.
It's done.
Richard, can I ask one thing?
Yes.
And I am glad to see that y'all approved the tax rate and the budget, but there is a significant amount in the road and bridge, and I feel like that a lot of the citizens would like to see more accountability on an ongoing basis. So we are, in this case, entrusting the Road and Bridge Department with this amount of money, but we would like to come back at meetings and see how it's being spent. I've learned that ConocoPhillips has repaid 45 miles of our county roads. Now that's a fact that they can tell us, so I would like to know how many miles of, what is our group doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can get reports like that in these commissioner court meetings, but we need to really require or demand that this department justify the amount of money they've received and how it's being spent.
Yeah. I think when we discussed that in one of the tax rate meetings, that we need to have accountability, we need to have better reporting, and the commissioners need to be more involved. As Commissioner Blotsky remembers, before they went to the unit system, they were responsible for seeing to it the roads got built. And I think when the unit system went in place, I think commissioners kind of may have said, "Oh God, we don't have to worry with that anymore." But that's really not the case. The commissioners should be managers of the manager of that department, and we need to take responsibility to keep updated and understand it.
I think the commissioners,
And that's no matter who the manager is.
right, I think the commissioners should be talking to their constituents that are being covered in Caliche dust every day, and then assure them that this can be helped and there is something we can do, and we have money and we will fix it.
Right.
They should not have to leave Caliche every single day.
The reports that Road and Bridge have given us, have been given us in the past on a monthly basis and everything, they have everything, all the roads, what they've done to them, where they've paved them and everything, and I believe that is public record, and they turned that into us, and I keep a record of it. you can just go back and if somebody calls or something says they haven't been on our road, you flip back to that page and they do an excellent job on keeping track of all that. Just go back and you know if they've been on there or not.
Maybe we just need a summary in these meetings so,
Yes, ma'am.
so that we know what it is. So if I know what your report is, we can go look at it. But
Okay.
with this much additional money, we
Yeah,
need
yes, ma'am.
to make it.
It goes from
clear.
a $7 million budget to 27 million, so it will require,
Well, it is going to take a
Correct.
large sum of money, which I think maybe Sue, you failed to realize what it costs to build a road for miles.
No, what I'm saying
And I agree accountability is relevant, but I think these guys do oversee their precincts. But every time you want to take money out of something, you strip it from the road and bridge.
No,
And you just have to realize it takes a lot of money to build a mile of road.
I am pleased to see the amount of money in road and bridge.
Right.
And I've talked to the people on the Caliche Road. I just want to make sure that we do get those roads repaired.
But I agree, but they're not repaired, they need to be built, and contracting it out is relevant, because Michael can't hire enough guys to start building roads,
That's right.
and it's gonna take hundreds of millions of dollars probably.
I hope not, but it might.
Okay, but we can
It's
help.
500 miles of
We
road.
we have enough to help.
Sure.
Okay, for the record, every one of the commissioners comes to my office, we discuss the roads, we discuss what we need to do. It's not like I'm limbo,
Right.
I'm all by myself. Everybody's got input on what we do. Shelby comes, Pete comes, Jay comes, Trace comes, everybody's there. It's not a one-man operation. I just want y'all to know that.
Right.
Okay.
But
What
that's
I do is I bring the roads as the work orders come in, we prioritize them through my foreman. And then what we do is we go, as far as road and bridge, and assess the problem and everything, and then I do the determination on what needs to be done now. As far as the future, the Commissioner's Court's gonna do that. I'm already working on seal coat for this year. I'm gonna have 25 miles last year, and I have to move it to this budget. I got 25 miles from this year, and I did 64 miles of limestone, and we all work on it together. So I just want y'all to know, they're not just sitting around. They're actually out there helping.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll be brief. I don't think Sue was making an attack on anybody. All she's asking for from the Commissioner's Court is that a report be made, or reports be made, so that we can, the people who live in the county, know that there's progress being made in the county to alleviate the problems that people in the county, such as myself, and Sue, and the judge, and Tracy, $23 million is not near enough money. It's more than they've ever had. But she's not attacking anybody. She's just asking for a report.
No, I do understand that.
That's why I responded that we had one.
We have been given reports on 1747 on the progress, and right now we're on the, that comes in every month. I give reports on, and that's the 1747. So the reports are there.
Right.
If at all possible, we could possibly put that on the county website where there's a link to road and bridge reports. I mean, that'd be something, not everybody can come to the meetings if they're wondering
Well,
what's going
very
on.
good idea. Very good
But I
idea.
just put it on the website and do it that way.
We can track it. That'll be good to have
Yeah.
access to it. We need to know about it. Thank you.
Now, the next item we'll go to is number 13. We've already acted on a budget that requires an overall tax rate of 23 cents. And we have that broken down as well. The first thing I need to do, however, is I have to make a motion to approve a overall property tax rate. And there's certain wordies I have to say, believe it or not, by statute, and here's what they are. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 23 cents per $100 valuation, which is effectively a 34.89% increase in the tax rate. That's my motion. Do I have
I'll
a
second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, let me make the roll call vote. I do that. Mr. Gower?
Yes.
Which number are we talking about?
Right, well, it's at 13, but we have to do an overall tax rate approval leading into 13 and 14.
It would be 16.
Yes. So this is 16, you're right.
My vote is yes.
Mr. Rosales?
Yes.
Mr. Dubnik?
Yes.
Mr. Schindel?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Now, 13 is approving and disapproving the adoption of the 2014 general fund and maintenance operation tax rate. And that rate is reflected on the budget. Let's see where I put my sheet. Say there, what is the rate?
It's .186045.
0.186045. I move that we accept that as our 2014 general fund and maintenance and operation tax rate.
I'll second it. And
All
sinking tax rate.
And the sinking we'll get next. And then Commissioner Yauer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosales?
Yes.
Commissioner Dubnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Schindel?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Next, item number 14 is to approve, disapprove the adoption of the 2014 general fund interest and sinking rate. And what is that rate?
That rate is .016452.
0.016452. Okay. And I'll make a motion that we approve that rate.
I'll second it.
All right. Commissioner Yauer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosales?
Yes.
Commissioner Dubnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Schindel?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Now, we also have I don't guess it's on here, it's covered in the overall tax rate. There's also a tax rate that applies to special road and bridge. And what is that tax rate?
That rate is .027503.
027503. I move that we approve that rate. I think the sinking and the road and bridge special are pretty well set, but let's.
I'll second it.
All right, Commissioner Yauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosales.
Yes.
Commissioner Dubnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Schindel,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Right. Last item, which was set out in the supplemental notice of public hearing, is the payment of bills.
We actually have to pay the bill?
Unfortunately, we wouldn't need the budget if we didn't have to.
We have a question while she's passing this out. With the new budget, what do you estimate, right now we have about $38 to $40 million in the bank. How much of that budget is going to impact that money, or the money we have in the bank?
The answer to that, I believe, is this. It initially reduces the amount of the portion of the, you're talking about unencumbered funds, those just kind of the savings.
Yes.
It will impact, but to the tune of $5 million, the road and bridge and the road and bridge special unencumbered funds. It will not impact any of the rest of it. And my expectation is, assuming collections go the way they should, I expect we're going to have more money in the unencumbered funds on all of the funds than we do now. So I think our financial health is still going to be good. We should have, we're not budgeting to collect extra money, but I suspect that more in view of past experiences, it will continue to mount a little bit, and that's a good thing. Okay?
Just for clarification, that increase potentially to our unencumbered funds will come from supplemental tax values that are not on the rolls yet as certified values, so they were not used to calculate this budget.
Yeah, by law, we can't use those.
Right.
We have to use the certified values.
Is there any law, Luana, that says how much you can carry or be encumbered for the year, budget year? Is there any kind of?
Is there a maximum? No.
A minimum or a maximum?
They recommend 4 to 6 months of operating expenses to always be in the bank.
And Charlene, I think what we'll see happen in the next few years, we'll find investment opportunities for those funds. You know, whether it be in building repairs or renovations, or whether it's in roads, additional roads we want to work on, we'll find opportunities to use those. I don't want to, I'm kind of like you, I don't want to save too much because, you know, we don't get paid much interest on that money. But by the same token, it's a savings account that we may need in the future, you know, and if those mineral values do drop and we need some additional money to operate the county for a while, it would be there. And, you know, so it's probably a good idea, as volatile as our county's economy has been, it's probably a good idea to have a safeguard of funds waiting for you, you know, just in case you have a downturn in this thing. I hate to even bring it up because I certainly don't want to have it happen. I want it to stay good like it has been, but I'm not much of a gambler, so I like to have a savings account.
I think the auditor said we had enough for what, 5 months or whatever.
Quite a bit. Well, pardon me.
Already.
Well, I think the figure she gave as far as cash assets, you know, part of that unencumbered funds is actually the value of our real estate. And so, you know, we can't spend that. But as far as cash available, I believe it was $20 million, something like that. And we're hoping that'll grow, but that won't, I don't know that would sustain 24 months of operation.
I think she reported 16 million and she said it was 25 months over 2 years.
I don't know where she got that. That needs to be investigated so we understand. Like I said, I want to maintain a good, healthy, unencumbered, balanced fund, but they shouldn't be just sacrosanct. You know, right now we're going to the state trying to get them to release some of their version of unencumbered funds, which is the rainy day fund, to pay for our roads. We need them, and for the state to be sitting on as much cash as they have right now doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense.
Yesterday, Judge, I was in Quarrel at a meeting, and it was told to me by Paul Suggs and Judge Fowler that Representative Garrett Coleman, who chairs the County Affairs Committee, is willing to take on the Attorney General's opinion this year and take it to the legislature about the county roads having the severance taxes underneath, that the county usually take that on and try to help the counties out.
I wish they'd make it retroactive so we can get back to $7.5 million they've already taken.
It's going to be it's a start, but Garrett Coleman from Houston is willing to do it.
I'm sorry, Luana, go ahead.
All right, on our bill payment cycle, if you'll turn to page 2, the first item to ABIP, which is the outside auditing firm and accounting firm, $21,281.55. That is an additional billing on the additional work on the bank reconciliations done by that firm. That is through August 31st, so we will still have one more bill coming in on that.
So far, it's been about $30,000.
Correct. The second entry is $22,722.87 to the appraisal district for the fourth quarterly payment of their current fiscal year budget. On page 3, at the bottom of the page, are capital outlay expenditures. $8,697.42 for the EMS facility. Phase 1A of the courthouse, $1,406.16. For the jail facility, $37,174.94. And for the conversion of the AbleTerm financial software to the Encode financial software, $23,391.97. On page 4, midway, you'll see an expenditure to Knapp Chevrolet in the amount of $137,275. That is for our new ambulance. It will be picked up next Wednesday, on October 1.
They don't deliver?
They're going to training on it also.
They'll carry it on their shoulders.
And on page 9 is a payment to Naismith Engineering for $36,226.76. That's for Senate Bill 1747 implementation costs. The total of this bill cycle, $432,802.35.
Any questions? I move we approve the payment of these bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You may have a blue pen.
Judge,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
$8,000 to EMS, is that just these drawings that they keep?
I think that's design work, yes,
So
ma'am.
we've got 8,000 in drawings and still nothing, right? As far as the building goes?
It's not under construction yet. We had discussion about that.
Right.
I think what we're gonna do is, look at all the avenues available for that building. You know, we wanna get it done, and we gotta get it done quick. But we wanna make sure we're getting the best deal we can. And,
Just $8,000, that's a lot to just be nowhere.
yes, ma'am. Well, I mean, no, I wouldn't say that.
Well,
Anytime you pay an architect to design a building or do work like that, it's expensive.
yeah.
You know, anytime you do, it's not, you can't get it done for $1,000 or anything. Yes, sir.
Okay, a set of specs that contractors can bid on,
Yes.
so it's not gonna be a turnkey job through the architect.
No, the architect, the architect acts as owner's representative to design the building and to, if you design a building and you submit it to bids and the contractor takes it, an architect has a role to play to make sure they're following the plans and specifications during the construction. And that's how I anticipate it will go unless we find another way to do it that works better.
When will the plans be ready for contractors to?
They may be
I
ready.
believe they're ready. I believe they're ready. I think it's
I
ready.
think that's the last prep bill, I think.
Where do you pick them up?
Well, we haven't advertised for bid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
as soon as we put it out for bid, I'm sure you can pick one up. You want a bid?
No.
I have someone that does.
Oh, good, okay.
I think it's gonna be a long list.
I just have one recommendation,
Yes, sir.
to preclude the budget from being misplaced. I would suggest that you sign it and personally hand it to the county clerk's office.
Erica's not letting anybody leave here till we sign all the
Just
resolutions, and you can guard the door as well, because I don't want anybody getting out of
Think
here.
that could happen again?
Just making a suggestion.
I've heard all about it. And, no, we don't intend to let that happen. We're gonna take care of all the business before we adjourn. And I think that's basically it. I don't want to adjourn until we sign all these things, but before I do, I want to, thank all the citizens who regularly come to these meetings. I appreciate it. Sometimes we get a little contentious, but, it's all in, the messy art of putting together budgets and trying to govern the county. It's never completely pleasing to anybody, but hopefully we'll come up with a product that will produce good government for this county the way we want to. And I appreciate all of your efforts, all of your input. Think you can see we've listened to all of you, and we've tried to come up, as I said, with a meaningful compromise that does what we need to do to move the county forward. So thank you very much for that. Ms. Erica, do you have documents for us? That's a ratification. Or did you already? I'll find it. Is this it? Okay. Very good. Gentlemen, if you'll pass it, sign them and pass them down. And I'll start this in this direction. Come back down this way. This will be the budget cover sheet.
You're the bill.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass them down to you, this one. This one doesn't have this. Anybody think of anything else we haven't done today? Brenda, have I done everything?
We signed the budget.
Would you like the audience to witness this insert?
That'd probably be a good idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he just signed the
Let everybody
resolution.
know the sheet's been given to the county clerk.
And here's the budget. And I'm gonna pass it down.
Let me know I'm giving the budget to Commissioner Schindel.
One copy of that budget is to be attached to the resolution, and then the other is just to be filed as is with the county clerk's office. Okay?
So you want to hand this one back to Judge Butler so he'll have one for his records?
Judge Butler, I'm giving you your copy for your record.
I don't think I want to look at it anymore.
Or the new upcoming judge, whatever it will be.
I'll take it home and sleep on it.
I tell you, Judge, I want to thank you for your hard work that you did on this budget and the time you spent into it. Also, I want to thank the citizens for really giving some input this year. Some, may not agree with what we do, but I appreciate the input, and it is your budget as well.
Let's not leave out our county auditor. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Let it be known, the first time I've seen a applause budget.
Anybody else have anything? Anybody from the audience got anything else to say? Sure, thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.